The email came just after sunrise. I just sat down with my morning coffee, watching the sea roll in like I did every day. Phuket had started to feel like peace again, or at least I was trying to make it that. And then I saw her name. An email from her. No subject, no warning. My heart stopped. My hands trembled. I didn't even realize I was holding my breath. I hadn't heard from her since the day she vanished. No note, no goodbye, just an empty closet and silence where her voice used to be. I stared at the screen for a long time before I opened it. Just 2 lines. Hope you're doing okay. I think about you sometimes. That was it. But it broke me all over again. I thought I'd finally found peace in Phuket. I thought she was different. She held my hand and whispered, "Forever." We talked about building a life, a beachside home, lazy mornings, maybe a little cafe together someday. I gave her my trust. I gave her everything. And then, one morning, she was just gone. My name's Vernon. I'm 67. I moved to Thailand because I was tired of being alone, but this story, this one, made me wish I'd stayed lonely. What happened after she left broke something inside me that I still haven't been able to fix. If you've ever been lonely enough to ignore every red flag, if you've ever fallen for a smile that felt like salvation, then I hope you'll stick around. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from. I read every single message. And to those of you who come back video after video, super thank you. You have no idea what your support means to a man trying to rebuild his voice after it was taken from him. This isn't just a story, it's a confession. Let me take you back to where it all started. The sand was still warm under my feet as we walked along Kata Beach that night. 6 months. That's how long Lanaya and I had been together, and she kept saying it felt like forever. "Vernon, you make me feel safe?" she whispered, her small hand wrapped around mine. "Like nothing can hurt me when I'm with you." I squeezed her fingers, feeling something I hadn't felt in decades. Hope. Real hope. "You know what I love about you?" she asked, stopping to face me. The moonlight caught her eyes, and I swear she looked like an angel. "You see me, really see me. Not just pretty girl from Thailand." I pulled her closer. "What do you see when you look at me?" She smiled, that smile that made my chest tight. "I see my soulmate, my future, my forever." Forever. That word hit me like a wave. At 67, I never thought I'd hear it again. "Is that what you want?" I asked. "Forever with an old man like me?" "Age is just number," she said, pressing her palm against my chest. "Your heart is young. Your heart is mine." We stood there in the warm Thai breeze, and I felt something I'd forgotten existed. Purpose. "I want to take care of you, Linnea. Build something real with you. And I take care of you," she replied. "Always. I promise." That night, lying in my beachside apartment with her head on my chest, I stared at the ceiling and thought about how different my life had become. 6 months ago, I was just another lonely retiree who'd fled to Thailand to escape the emptiness back home in Idaho. Now I had someone who called me her soulmate. Someone who made me feel alive again. "What are you thinking?" she murmured against my skin. "Just grateful," I said, "for finding you, for this. We found each other," she corrected. "Universe brought us together." I kissed the top of her head. She smelled like jasmine and coconut oil. "What do you want our life to look like?" I asked. "Our real life, I mean. When we're old and gray." She laughed softly. "You already gray, baby." "You know what I mean. I want little house by beach, maybe small business, tour company, just us. Help people see real Thailand, not tourist Thailand." "We could do that," I said. "I have enough saved. We could make it happen." She lifted her head to look at me. "You would do that? For me?" "I'd do anything for you." And I meant it. Every word. That was my first mistake. I didn't know it then, But lying there in the dark with her warm body next to mine, I was already planning my own destruction. I was already choosing to ignore the voice in my head that whispered, "This is too good to be true." But I was tired of listening to that voice. I was tired of being careful. I was tired of being alone. "I love you, Vernon," she said into the darkness, "more than I ever loved anyone." "I love you too," I replied, and God help me, I did. It wasn't some fairy tale meeting. No love at first sight nonsense. I hired her tour company for a private island hop 3 months after I'd moved to Phuket. I was still trying to figure out how to be retired, how to fill the days without feeling like I was just waiting to die. "You want full day or half day?" she asked when I called. Her English was careful but clear. "I don't know. What do you recommend for someone who's new here?" "Where are you from?" "Idaho, United States." "Ah, American. First time Thailand?" "Yes." "Okay. I make special tour just for you. Show you real Phuket. Not crowded places. You like quiet?" I found myself smiling. I love quiet. "Good. I pick you up 9 o'clock tomorrow. What's your name?" "Vernon." "I'm Lanaya. Don't worry, Vernon. I take care everything." She did take care of everything. Picked me up in a spotless boat, brought fresh fruit and cold water, knew exactly where to go for the best snorkeling without the crowds. But what got to me wasn't the professional service. It was how she noticed things. "You tired?" she said around lunch when we were sitting on a secluded beach eating the meal she'd packed. "Jet lag still bothering you?" "A little." "And something else?" she said, studying my face. "You look sad. Not vacation happy." I laughed, but it came out hollow. "That obvious?" "I good at reading people. Is part of job." She handed me a slice of mango. "You running from something back home?" The question caught me off guard. Most people didn't ask personal questions. They kept things surface level. "Maybe," I said. "Divorce?" 15 years ago, but yeah, that's part of it." "Sorry. Was bad?" "Bad enough that I haven't tried again since." She nodded thoughtfully. "Better alone than with wrong person." That's what I always told myself. "But now you not so sure?" I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't trying to flirt or impress me. She was just present, listening. I don't know. Maybe I convinced myself I was better alone because it was easier than risking it again. "Risk is scary," she agreed, "but without risk, no reward." "Is that Thai wisdom?" "That's Lanaya wisdom." She grinned, and I felt something shift in my chest. When she dropped me off that evening, she handed me her card. "You want to see more islands this week?" "I might." "Here, I give you my personal number too. Sometimes agency number busy. You text me direct, okay?" That night she texted me, "Hope you had good day. Sleep well, Vernon." It was just polite follow-up, but something about seeing my name in her message made me feel noticed. The next day she texted again, "How you feeling today? Still tired?" Then the day after, "Found new quiet beach yesterday. You might like. Want to see?" I said yes. Of course I said yes. When she picked me up, she had coffee and pastries waiting. "Thought you might need breakfast?" she said. "You didn't have to do that." "I want to. You look thin. Need to eat more." No one had worried about whether I was eating enough in years. No one had noticed I looked thin. "Why are you being so nice to me?" I asked. She looked surprised. "Why not? You seem like good man. Gentle, respectful. Not like some tourists." "Some tourists?" "Some men come here, think Thai women are. You know, available, easy. Treat us like service, not people. That's terrible. You different. You see me as person, that rare." We spent the day snorkeling and talking. She told me about growing up in Phuket, about her dreams of starting her own tour company someday. I told her about my years doing security consulting, about the emptiness of coming home to a quiet house every night. "You could stay here," she said as we watched the sunset. "In Thailand, many expats do. I don't know anyone here. You know me." It was such a simple statement, but it hit me like a revelation. I knew her, and she knew me. More than that, she cared about me. When had someone last cared about whether I was eating enough, sleeping well, feeling lonely? Would you like to have dinner sometime?" I asked. Not business, just dinner. Her smile was radiant. "I would like that very much, Vernon." 3 weeks after our first dinner, Linnea started staying over most nights. It happened gradually, naturally. First she'd cook dinner at my place because your kitchen better than mine. Then she'd fall asleep on my couch watching movies. Then one night she just crawled into bed next to me and whispered, "Is this okay?" It was more than okay. It was everything I'd forgotten I wanted. I never stay with men before. She told me one morning making coffee in my kitchen wearing one of my old t-shirts. Never? Not even boyfriends? I had boyfriends, but never. Never living together. My mother always say, "Don't give man everything until he give you everything." Smart mother. Maybe. But with you I feel safe. Like I can be myself. She turned to face me, and I saw something vulnerable in her expression. "You are my only safe place, Vernon." The words hit me deep. I'd been a protector my whole life, first in the military, then in private security, but I'd never been someone's safe place. Never been the person someone came home to for comfort. "I want to be that for you," I said. "Always." "You sure? I come with complications." "What kind of complications?" She was quiet for a long moment. "My family. They don't understand my life. Think I should marry Thai man, have babies, be traditional. They don't support my dreams." "What dreams?" "Tour company, my own business. Independence." She looked down at her coffee. "They think I'm too Western now, too ambitious." "There's nothing wrong with ambition." "You really think that? Not just saying?" "I really think that. I admire your ambition." That afternoon, she brought her cousin Lek to meet me. Lek was maybe 19, sweet but shy, spoke very little English. "Lek is good girl," Linnea explained. "Help me with tour business sometimes. She trusts you now because I trust you." After Lek left, Linnea curled up next to me on the couch. "What you thinking about?" she asked. "Just this. Us. How different my life is now. Good different? The best different." She traced patterns on my chest with her finger. "Vernon, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "The tour company dream. You think maybe you could help me? Not just emotional support, financial support?" My heart jumped. She was asking me to invest in her future, in our future. "How much would you need?" "I don't know exactly. Maybe 10,000? 15? Need good boat, proper licenses, insurance, marketing." "I could do that." She sat up, eyes wide. "Really? You would do that for me?" "I'd do anything for you, you know that." "But what if business fail? What if I lose your money?" "Then we lose it together, but I don't think you'll fail. You're too smart, too determined." She kissed me then, deep and grateful. "This is why I love you. You believe in me when no one else does. Because I see who you really are." "Who am I?" "You're brilliant, you're brave. You're going to build something amazing." That night, as we lay in bed, she talked about her plans. The route she'd offer, the experiences she'd create, the way she'd treat her clients like family instead of just tourists. "We could work together," she said. "You have business experience. I have local knowledge, perfect team. I'd like that. I'd like being partners with you." "Partners in everything," she agreed, snuggling closer. "Business and life." I stared at the ceiling, feeling something I hadn't felt since I was young. Purpose. A reason to get up in the morning that wasn't just habit. "I'm going to transfer the money tomorrow." I said. Startup capital. You sure? I'm sure. I believe in you, Linnea. I believe in us. I won't let you down, she promised. I'll make you proud. I believed her. God help me, I believed every word. I wired $14,000 to her business account on a Tuesday morning. By Friday, something was different. You seem distracted, I said over dinner. She'd barely touched her food, kept checking her phone every few minutes. Sorry, baby, just business stress. Good stress or bad stress? Just complicated. Many things to organize. She put her phone face down on the table, but her eyes kept drifting to it. Want to talk about it? Maybe I can help. No. I handle it. Don't worry. But I was starting to worry. The easy intimacy we'd shared for weeks felt strained. She'd come to bed late, leave early, spent long periods in the bathroom with the door locked, talking in rapid tie on her phone. Who were you talking to? I asked one morning after she'd emerged from a 40-minute bathroom call. Business contact, trying to get good price on boat insurance. In the bathroom? Better signal in there. It was a weak excuse, but I didn't push. I didn't want to seem controlling or suspicious. That's what I told myself anyway. Truth was, I was scared. Scared that pushing would reveal something I didn't want to know. Are we okay? I asked her directly on Sunday night. She'd been distant all weekend, claiming headaches, saying she needed to go home to help her mother with something. Of course we okay. Why, you ask? You just seem different since the business account. Different how? I don't know. Less present. Like your mind is somewhere else. She sat on the edge of the bed back to me. Starting business is scary, Vernon. Big responsibility. Your money, my future. What if I fail? You won't fail. But what if I do? What if I disappoint you? I moved behind her, put my hands on her shoulders. You could never disappoint me. You say that now. I mean it. She leaned back against me, and for a moment it felt like before. Warm, connected, real. I just need time to organize everything. Once business is running, I'll be less stressed. How long do you think that will take? Maybe a few weeks, maybe a month. Can I help with anything? I have experience with business licenses, permits, that kind of thing. No, she said quickly. I mean, thank you, but I need to do this myself. Prove I can handle it. You don't have to prove anything to me. I have to prove it to myself. That night, she didn't stay over. Said she needed to be at home to make early morning calls about permits. It was the first night we'd spent apart in weeks. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to shake the feeling that something was shifting, something I couldn't name or stop. The next morning she texted, "Working all day. See you tomorrow, maybe." Maybe. That word haunted me. When had we gone from always to maybe? I walked the beach that afternoon, trying to convince myself I was being paranoid. New businesses were stressful. She was overwhelmed, not pulling away. The money had made things more serious, more pressured. That was natural. But deep down, in a place I didn't want to examine too closely, I knew something had changed the moment that transfer went through. The question was whether I was brave enough to find out what. Where did the money go? I asked her the following Tuesday. She'd been giving me excuses for over a week, and I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. We were sitting on my balcony, and she froze with her coffee cup halfway to her lips. What you mean? The $14,000. What has it been used for so far? Her face went pale. Why you asking me this? Because I'm your partner. I should know how our investment is being used. Our investment? Her voice went sharp. You don't trust me? This isn't about trust, it's about communication. It is about trust. She set her cup down hard, coffee sloshing. You think I steal from you? I never said that. You don't have to say. I can see in your eyes. She stood up, pacing to the balcony railing. I thought you different, Vernon. I thought you see me as person, not just Thai girl who take your money. Lanaya, please, I'm not accusing you of anything. Then why are you asking like police? Because you've been distant for over a week. You won't talk to me about the business. You barely stay over anymore. What am I supposed to think? You supposed to trust me? Her voice cracked, and I saw tears forming. You supposed to believe in me like you said? I do believe in you. No, you don't. You think like all other men. Give money. Then want control everything. That's not what this is. Then what is it? She turned to face me, tears streaming now. Tell me, Vernon, what is it? I felt like I was drowning. This wasn't how I'd wanted this conversation to go. I just wanted to understand, to be included, to feel like we were still partners. I love you, I said. I just want to be part of your life. Part of my life? You are my life. Then why does it feel like you're pulling away? Because you questioning everything. How can I feel close to someone who doesn't trust me? I do trust you. You don't. If you trusted me, you wouldn't asking about money like this. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Maybe I was wrong about you. Maybe you just like all other men. Don't say that. Why not? Is true, isn't it? You give money? Now you want control my decisions. I want to be your partner. Partners don't interrogate each other. Partners communicate with each other. I'm communicating. I tell you business is complicated, takes time. What more you want? I want to feel like we're building this together. We are building together. Then why am I finding out about everything after the fact? Why do you take phone calls in the bathroom? Why won't you tell me what you've spent the money on? Because you make me feel like criminal, like I have to justify everything. She grabbed her purse from the chair. I can't do this, Vernon. Not like this. Where are you going? Home. Away from this. This suspicion. Lanaya, wait. But she was already at the door. When you decide to trust me again, call me. Until then, I need space. The door slammed, and I was alone with the echo of her words and the sick feeling in my stomach. I'd handled it all wrong. I'd let my insecurity poison what we had. 3 days passed without a word from her. I texted twice, called once, got no response. I walked past places we'd been together, hoping to run into her, but it was like she'd vanished from the island. On the 4th day, she finally called. Vernon? I'm sorry. I got so angry. I'm the one who should apologize. I handled that terribly. You hurt me, made me feel like you don't trust me. I do trust you. I was just feeling disconnected from the business side of things. Business is going slow, permits more complicated than expected. Is there anything I can do to help? Actually, yes. My uncle in Bangkok, he very sick. Needs surgery. I have to go help my aunt. How long will you be gone? Maybe a week, maybe 2. Depends on his condition. Do you need money for the trip? I don't want to ask. You're not asking. I'm offering. Maybe 1,000 for hospital, travel, help my aunt? I transferred it that afternoon. I was trying to prove I trusted her, trying to make up for that terrible conversation. Thank you, she said when the money went through. This is why I love you. You take care of me when I need it. Always, I said. I'll always take care of you. I know. I'm sorry I doubted that. When will you leave for Bangkok? Tomorrow morning. Early flight. Will you call me? Let me know how your uncle is? Of course. Every day. I felt the relief wash over me. We were okay. I'd almost ruined everything with my paranoia, but we were okay. She forgave me. She still loved me. She was still mine. That night she came over for dinner. We cooked together, talked about her family, about her uncle's condition. It felt normal again, real again. I'm going to miss you, I said as we got ready for bed. Miss you too, but I'll be back soon. Promise? I promise. We made love that night with an intensity that felt like making up for lost time, like sealing a pact. Afterward, she lay with her head on my chest and I felt whole again. Vernon? Yeah? Thank you for understanding about my uncle, about giving me space when I needed it. Thank you for coming back to me. Always, she whispered. I always come back to you. I should have known then that people who have to promise to come back are already planning to leave. 2 weeks later, Lanaya came back from Bangkok, looking different, thinner, more tired. But there was something else, something I couldn't name, a distance in her eyes even when she was smiling. How's your uncle? I asked when I picked her up from the airport. Better. Surgery went well. He'll recover. And your aunt? Grateful. Very grateful for your help. She squeezed my hand, but it felt automatic. Polite. I missed you, I said. Missed you too. But she was looking out the window instead of at me. That first night back, she begged off dinner saying she was exhausted from travel. The second night, she had to help her cousin with something. The third night, she agreed to our usual seafood place by the beach. You seem distant, I said over tom yum soup. Still tired from Bangkok? Just readjusting. Big city is very different from here. Her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, ignored it. It buzzed again. Important? I asked. Just work stuff. Can wait. But it kept buzzing throughout dinner. Quick vibrations that made her tense each time. Maybe you should check it, I said. No, this time is for us. She reached across the table, took my hand. I want to focus on you tonight. Is everything okay with the business? Getting better. Slowly. These things take time. Any word on the boat permits? Still processing. Thai bureaucracy very slow. Her phone buzzed again. This time she turned it face down. Sorry, should have put on silent. Lanaya. Yes? Are we okay? Really okay? She was quiet for a long moment, studying my face in the candlelight. Why you keep asking that? Because something feels different since you got back. Different how? I don't know. Like you're here, but not here. I'm here, she said, squeezing my hand. Right here with you. But for how long? The question slipped out before I could stop it. She looked surprised. What you mean? I mean, this feels fragile lately. Like you're always about to leave. Vernon, I'm not going anywhere. Promise? I promise. But she said it too quickly, like she'd been expecting the question. After dinner, we walked along the beach where we'd first said we loved each other. The same stretch of sand where she'd called me her soulmate. Remember our first walk here? I asked. Of course, you were so nervous. I was falling in love with you. Were? Past tense? She stopped walking, turned to face me. Am. I'm falling in love with you every day. Good, she said, pulling me close, because I love you too, more than you know. How much? Forever much, she whispered against my ear. Forever and always. Forever, that word again. It should have comforted me. But something about the way she said, it felt like goodbye. What are you thinking about? I asked as we walked back. Just grateful. For you. For this. For having someone who believes in me when no one else does. I'll always believe in you. I know. That's what makes you special. When we got back to my apartment, she was unusually affectionate, attentive, present in a way she hadn't been since returning from Bangkok. We made love with an intensity that felt desperate, like we were trying to hold on to something that was slipping away. Afterward, she lay in my arms, tracing circles on my chest. Vernon? Whatever happens, I want you to know you saved me. Saved you from what? From giving up on love, on dreams, on believing good men exist. You saved me too. From what? From loneliness, from thinking my life was over. She kissed my chest, right over my heart. Your life is just beginning. Our life is just beginning. Yes, she said softly. Our life. That night, I woke up around 3 a.m. and found her staring at the ceiling. Can't sleep? I asked. Just thinking. About what? About how lucky I am. To have found you. To have this. You're not going to lose this. I know, she said, but her voice was thick with something that sounded like sadness. I know that now. I pulled her closer, and she melted against me. I'll never leave you, she whispered into the darkness. Never. I promise. Those were the last words she ever spoke to me. I woke up the next morning to an empty bed, an empty closet, and a silence that would haunt me for months. I knew something was wrong before I was fully awake. The bed felt too empty, too cold. I reached for her and found nothing but rumpled sheets. Lanaya? I called out, thinking she might be in the bathroom or making coffee. Silence. I got up, checked every room. The bathroom was empty. The kitchen was empty. Her clothes were gone from the closet. Her toothbrush was gone from the sink. It was like she'd never been there at all. My phone showed no messages, no missed calls. I tried calling her, straight to voicemail. The generic recording, not even her voice. I tried texting. Where are you? Are you okay? The message showed as delivered but never read. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the space where she should have been, trying to make sense of it. People don't just vanish. There had to be an explanation, a family emergency, a misunderstanding, something. I got dressed and drove to her apartment. I'd only been there a few times. She always preferred staying at my place, but I remembered the building. 3rd floor, Unit 12. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again. Harder. Linnea? It's Vernon. A neighbor poked her head out of the next unit. You, looking for the girl? Yes, Linnea. Have you seen her? She gone. Yesterday. Moving truck came. Took everything. Moving truck? Big truck. 2 men. She supervise everything, then leave. Did she say where she was going? The woman shrugged. Not my business. I stood in the hallway, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. Moving truck. Yesterday. While I was at home waiting for her to come over for dinner, while I was planning what we'd cook together, I drove to her cousin Lex's place. The address Linnea had given me led to a small apartment complex on the outskirts of town. I climbed to the 2nd floor, found the number, knocked. An old Thai woman answered, spoke no English. Lek, I said. Looking for Lek? She shook her head, said something in Thai that sounded like, no Lek here. Linnea? I tried. You know Linnea? Again the head shake. The woman looked at me with pity and shut the door. I sat in my car outside the building, trying to process what was happening. Either I had the wrong address, or Lek had never lived there, or both Linnea and Lek had disappeared at the same time. I tried calling the number Linnea had given me for her tour business. Disconnected. The number she'd said was her personal cell. Disconnected. It was like she'd never existed. I drove home in a daze, trying to remember details that might explain this. Had she seemed different last night? More distant? More affectionate? Both, maybe. Like she was saying goodbye without saying goodbye. I searched my apartment for clues, for anything she might have left behind. A note, a piece of jewelry, a forgotten piece of clothing. Nothing. She'd been thorough. The only proof she'd ever been there was the empty space in my closet and the memory of her head on my pillow. That afternoon I went to the bank. I need to check on a business account, I told the teller. My partner may have accessed it recently. Account holder name? Linnea. I realized I didn't know her last name. I'm sorry, what's the full business name? I don't remember exactly. The teller looked at me with professional sympathy. I'm sorry, sir. Without proper identification or account information, I can't help you. But I transferred money to that account. $15,000 total. You'll need to speak with your bank about your own transactions. I went to my bank. They confirmed the transfers. $14,000 to one account, $1,000 to another. Both accounts had been closed within days of receiving the funds. Closed by whom? I asked. I can't provide those details, privacy regulations. But it's my money. Once transferred, sir, it becomes the property of the account holder. I sat in my car in the bank parking lot staring at the transaction records. $15,000. Gone. Just gone. But the money wasn't what destroyed me. It was the realization that I'd never really known her at all. Her last name, her real address, her cousin's real name, where she actually worked. Whether anything she'd told me was true. I'd fallen in love with a ghost. A beautiful, convincing ghost who'd made me feel alive for 6 months before erasing herself from my life. That night I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I walked the beach where we'd said we loved each other, where she'd promised me forever. The sand looked the same, the waves sounded the same, but everything felt hollow, empty, like the whole world was just a stage set that had lost its meaning when the main actor walked away. I tried to be angry, but I couldn't find the anger yet. All I could find was a crushing sense of loss and a question that would haunt me for months. How do you grieve someone who might never have been real? 3 days later, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I had to know something, anything real about her. I started retracing our steps, visiting places we'd been together, hoping someone might have information. The first breakthrough came at a small hotel in Patong, where we'd spent a weekend early in our relationship. She'd insisted on booking the room herself, said she could get a better rate through local connections. "Excuse me?" I said to the desk clerk, a young Thai woman who looked familiar. "I was here a few months ago with my girlfriend. I'm trying to reach her, but her phone is disconnected. What was the name on the reservation?" "Lanaya. She's Thai, about 28, works in tourism." The clerk's face changed. Not recognition exactly, but something else. Discomfort, maybe? "What her last name?" I don't remember exactly. It sounded pathetic, even to me. How do you forget your girlfriend's last name? Can you describe her? I described Lanaya in detail. The clerk listened, nodding slowly. "Oh," she said finally, "you mean Siraporn." "Who?" "Siraporn. That her real name. Lanaya is, how you say, nickname maybe? Siraporn." I repeated it, testing how it felt in my mouth. "Yes, I remember her. She stayed here few times, with different men." The words hit me like a physical blow. Different men? Foreign men, Western men, always older. She looked sympathetic now, probably reading the devastation on my face. "I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say." "No, please. I need to know. How many times has she been here?" "Maybe 5, 6 times over past year. Always with different men?" "Usually, yes. Sometimes same man twice, but mostly different." I gripped the edge of the counter to steady myself. "Do you remember when she was here with me?" "Few months ago, yes. You seem nice. Different from others." "Different how?" "More gentlemen. Others more rough. Treat her not so nice." "What did the others look like?" "Older, like you, but more demanding. Less polite." The clerk leaned closer, lowered her voice. "She always pay for room herself. Always book single night, extend if things go well." "She paid?" "Yes. With cash. Always cash." I thought about that weekend, how grateful I'd been when she'd handled the booking, how impressed I'd been with her resourcefulness. Did she ever mention a tour business? Starting her own company? The clerk looked confused. "Tour business? No. She worked for a massage parlor near beach. Same job long time." "Massage parlor?" "Yes, near Bangla Road. Pink sign. She worked there maybe 2 years. I felt like I was falling through space. Everything she'd told me about her job, her dreams, her family situationlies, all lies." "When was the last time you saw her?" I asked. "Maybe month ago. She come with German man, much older than you." They argue in lobby. She leave angry. Argue about what? Money, I think. He want his money back. She say no. The pieces were falling into place, creating a picture I didn't want to see. Thank you, I said to the clerk. You've been very helpful. I'm sorry, she said softly. You seem like good man. She good at making men feel special. I left the hotel in a daze. Siraporn. Her real name was Siraporn, and she worked at a massage parlor, and I wasn't the first lonely foreign man to fall for her promises. I wasn't even the second or third. I was just another mark in what was apparently a well-practiced routine. The massage parlor was exactly where the clerk said it would be. Pink neon sign, narrow stairs leading to the second floor. I climbed those stairs on unsteady legs, not sure what I hoped to find. A middle-aged Thai woman sat behind a small desk, looking up at me with practiced disinterest. You want massage? She asked in broken English. I'm looking for Siraporn. Is she working today? The woman's expression sharpened. Siraporn no work here anymore. She quit maybe 3 weeks ago. Did she say where she was going? No, say nothing, just quit. Take money and go. Take money? Advance money. For customers who book ahead, she take and disappear. Another woman, younger, emerged from one of the back rooms. She said something rapid in Thai to the older woman, who nodded and responded. Then the younger woman looked at me. You Vernon? She asked. I was so surprised I could barely speak. Yes? How do you know that? Siraporn talk about you. Say you good man, but how to say, easy target. Easy target? You give money easy. No ask questions. Perfect customer. The older woman said something sharp in Thai, but the younger woman ignored her. She show us your picture. Say you send money for business that no exist. The tour company was fake? No tour company. She work here, save money from men like you. Now she have enough. She go. Go where? Bangkok. Maybe. Or maybe different province. She say she buy condo, start new life. I stood there absorbing this information. She'd shown them my picture. Talked about me like I was a joke. Called me an easy target. How many men were there, I asked. Like me, I mean. How many men did she take money from? The women exchanged looks. The younger one shrugged. Many. She very good at this. Make men feel special, feel young, then take money and disappear. Was any of it real? The question came out broken, desperate. Was she? Did she care about any of us? The older woman's expression softened slightly. Maybe she cared a little bit, but money more important. Always money more important. I thanked them and left, walking back to my apartment like a man in a dream. No, not a dream. A nightmare. A waking nightmare in which everything I'd believed about the past 6 months was crumbling around me. At home, I sat on the couch where she'd curled up against me so many nights and tried to process what I'd learned. Her real name. Her real job. The fact that I was just one of many lonely men she'd targeted and drained of money and hope. But what haunted me most wasn't the lies or even the money. It was remembering how real it had felt when she'd said she loved me, how convinced I'd been that I was special to her, how thoroughly she'd made me believe that I was different from all the other lonely foreign men in Thailand. I thought about that last night when she'd whispered forever, and I'll never leave you. Had any part of her meant it? Or was she already planning her exit, already counting the money, already moving on to whatever came next? I would never know. And that uncertainty would eat at me longer than the betrayal itself. A week after learning her real name, I found myself back on the beach where it all started. Not looking for answers anymore, I'd found enough of those. Just trying to figure out how to live with them. The sun was setting, painting the sky the same colors it had been that first night when she'd called me her soulmate. But now those colors looked different, hollow, like a beautiful lie. I kept thinking about what the massage parlor girl had said. Easy target. That's what I'd been. Not a partner, not a soulmate, not even really a boyfriend. Just an easy target with money and loneliness and a desperate need to believe someone could love me. How had I become that person? When had I gotten so hungry for affection that I'd ignored every red flag, every inconsistency, every warning sign that should have told me what was really happening? Her phone calls in the bathroom, her vague answers about the business, her reluctance to let me meet her friends or see where she worked, her insistence on handling all the money transfers herself, the way she disappeared whenever I asked direct questions. I'd seen it all and explained it all away because the alternative that I was being played was too painful to consider. "You look like man with heavy heart," a voice said behind me. I turned to see an older Thai woman, maybe 70, walking her small dog along the water's edge. "Sorry, I don't mean to bother you," she said in clear English. You look very sad, like my husband did after his mother died." "Not a death," I said. "Just a mistake. A big mistake." "Ah, woman mistake or business mistake?" "Both. Same mistake." She nodded knowingly. Farong man, Thai woman, money disappear. It was such a common story that a stranger could guess it from my posture. That should have told me something. "You're not the first person to recognize the situation," I said. "Very common story in Thailand. Thai women who target lonely foreign men. Some call them bar girls, but they work everywhere now. Hotels, massage, tour companies." "Tour companies?" I repeated. "She tell you she work in tourism?" "Among other lies, yes. They good at finding men who want to be needed, men who want to feel young again, important again. They study you, learn what you want to hear." The woman's dog had wandered over to sniff my feet. She followed, standing beside me at the water's edge. "How long you with her?" 6 months. "How much money?" $15,000. "Could be worse." "I know German man. He gives 70,000 over 2 years." "Christ. Same girl, maybe. They have type. Older men recently divorced or widowed, living alone. Men who've been hurt before and afraid to trust, but also desperate to trust." She was describing me so perfectly it hurt. "How do you know all this?" "My nephew. He police. See these cases all time. Very hard to prosecute because technically not illegal. No promises in writing, no contracts. Just broken hearts and empty bank accounts. So she'll never face any consequences. Probably not, unless she get greedy, start taking too much from wrong person. Then maybe problems." We stood in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching the waves. Her dog had settled in the sand between us. "The worst part," I said finally, "isn't the money." "What is worst part?" I let her rewrite my story. For 6 months, I wasn't Vernon the lonely retiree who'd given up on love. I was Vernon the partner, the protector, the man who'd found his soulmate in paradise. I liked that story so much better that I ignored reality to keep it alive. And now? Now I don't know what my story is anymore. Am I the fool who got conned? The victim who should be pitied? The lonely old man who deserved what he got? Maybe you are a man who took risk on love and got hurt. Maybe you are a man who still believes in love even after being betrayed. Maybe you are a man who learning important lesson about himself. What lesson? That you have love to give, that you want partner, not just someone to take care of or someone to take care of you, that you brave enough to try again, even when trying means risking pain. I looked at this stranger who was being kinder to me than I'd been to myself all week. "You think I should try again?" "I think you should heal first. Learn to love yourself enough that you don't need someone else to make you feel worthy. Then, maybe you try again, but more careful this time." "More suspicious, you mean?" "More wise. There is difference." She called to her dog, who trotted over obediently. "You know what I think about your syrup horn?" "What?" "I think maybe small part of her did care for you. Maybe that why she had to disappear like ghost. No goodbye. Easier to run away than face what she was doing to you. Does that matter? Maybe not to you, but maybe it mattered to her. Maybe she carries some guilt about Vernon, even if she forget other men. It was a small comfort, but I found myself holding on to it. The possibility that some part of what we'd shared had been real, even if the foundation was built on lies. Thank you, I said as she prepared to leave. For listening, for not making me feel like a complete fool. You not fool, she said firmly. You man who wanted love. Nothing foolish about that. Foolish is never trying at all. After she left, I stayed on the beach until full dark, thinking about what she'd said. Maybe the lesson wasn't that I was too trusting or too naive or too desperate. Maybe the lesson was that I still had the capacity for love, still had the courage to be vulnerable, still believed in the possibility of partnership. Siraporn Linaya, whoever she really was, had taken my money and broken my heart, but she hadn't taken my ability to hope. She hadn't erased the part of me that wanted to connect with another person. She'd tried to rewrite my story, make me the victim, the fool, the easy target. But I got to choose how this story ended. And I was choosing to end it not as a man destroyed by betrayal, but as a man who'd loved deeply and been hurt deeply and was still standing, still capable of love, still willing to try. The money was gone. The relationship was a lie. But I was still here, still breathing, still hoping, still believing that somewhere out there might be someone who could see me, really see me, and choose to stay. That night, I didn't feel grateful for the experience. I didn't feel stronger or wiser or better for having been through it. I just felt hurt and used and embarrassed. But I also felt something else, something unexpected. Resolve. I wasn't going to let her final victory be turning me into someone who'd given up on love entirely. I was going to heal. I was going to learn. I was going to be more careful next time. And yes, there would be a next time. Because the alternative, shutting down completely, trusting no one, living the rest of my life in isolation, that would be letting her win, and I'd given her enough already. 6 months have passed since she disappeared. I'm still in Phuket, still in the same apartment, still walking the same beaches. People ask me why I stayed, why I didn't go back to Idaho, back to the familiar emptiness of my old life. The answer is complicated, but it comes down to this. I refused to let her chase me away from the place where I finally remembered what it felt like to be alive, even if that aliveness came wrapped in a lie. The first month after she left was hell. I won't lie about that. I barely ate, barely slept, spent most of my time cycling between rage and self-pity. I kept expecting her to call, to explain, to apologize. Some part of me even hoped she'd come back with a story that would make it all make sense. A good reason for the lies, a justification that would let me forgive her and take her back. But the silence stretched on, and slowly I began to understand that there would be no explanation, no closure, no redemption arc where she realized she'd made a mistake and chose love over money. She was gone, and she was never coming back, and I had to figure out how to live with that. I joined a support group for expats who'd been scammed in Thailand. Turns out there are enough of us to fill a room every Tuesday night. The stories are remarkably similar: lonely foreign men, beautiful local women, promises of love and partnership, money that disappears along with the woman who requested it. But what surprised me was how many of the men in that group had stayed in Thailand afterward. How many had rebuilt their lives here instead of running home to nurse their wounds. This place didn't betray me, said Frank, a 72-year-old from Australia who'd lost $40,000 to a woman he'd been with for 2 years. She betrayed me. Big difference. That distinction mattered. Thailand hadn't hurt me. Phuket hadn't lied to me. The beaches and the sunsets and the warm ocean were still exactly what they'd always been. It was one person, very skilled liar, who'd used my loneliness against me. I started therapy with an English-speaking counselor in Phuket town, Dr. Sarah Chen, an American expat who'd been living in Thailand for 15 years and specialized in helping foreigners navigate the emotional complexities of life abroad. "What do you miss most about her?" she asked during one of our early sessions. The feeling that someone saw me, I said without hesitation, really saw me and chose me anyway. And what do you think she actually saw? A bank account with a reasonable balance and a man desperate enough to ignore obvious red flags. Maybe. But what if there was more to it than that? What do you mean? What if she did see you, your kindness, your generosity, your capacity for love, and that's exactly why she chose you, not just because you were an easy target, but because you were a good target, someone worth manipulating? It was a disturbing thought, but it helped me understand something important. The qualities that made me vulnerable to her weren't weaknesses to be ashamed of. They were human traits that someone had weaponized against me. I wasn't stupid for wanting love. I wasn't naive for believing in partnership. I wasn't pathetic for hoping that someone could see value in me. I was just human, lonely and hopeful, and trusting in the way that humans are when they're searching for connection. 3 months into therapy, Dr. Chan asked me a question that changed everything. If you could go back and warn yourself before you met her, what would you say? Don't trust her. It's all a lie. Would that have been enough? Would you have listened? I thought about it honestly. Probably not. I was so lonely, so ready to believe someone could love me. I think I would have heard the warning and ignored it. So what would have been more helpful than a warning? Learning to be okay alone. Learning to value myself enough that I didn't need someone else's validation to feel worthy. Are you learning that now? I'm trying to. That became my focus. Not finding someone new, though I wasn't ruling it out, but learning to enjoy my own company. Learning to build a life that felt full and meaningful without needing someone else to complete it. I started taking cooking classes, joined a hiking group for expats, began volunteering at a local animal shelter. I made friends with other retirees, both foreign and Thai, who were living genuine lives here. Not fantasy lives built on romantic delusions, but real lives with real friendships and real purposes. I learned to tell the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness was what I'd felt in Idaho, that gnawing sense that life was passing me by while I sat alone in my house. Solitude was what I felt now when I walked the beach at sunset, peaceful, reflective, complete in myself. Last month I had coffee with a woman named Patricia, an English teacher from Canada who'd been living in Thailand for 5 years. We met through the hiking group, and she asked me out for what was clearly a date. She was attractive, intelligent, financially independent, and completely transparent about her life here. Everything Lanaya had pretended to be. I should probably tell you, I said over coffee, I was badly burned by someone here, emotionally and financially. I'm not sure I'm ready for anything serious. I appreciate the honesty, she said. What happened, if you don't mind me asking? I told her the whole story. The whirlwind romance, the business investment, the sudden disappearance. I expected to see pity in her eyes, or judgment, or the kind of patronizing sympathy I'd gotten from some people. Instead, I saw understanding. Something similar happened to my neighbor, she said. Different details, same basic pattern. It's more common than people want to admit. Does that bother you? Knowing I was that gullible? It tells me you're someone who believes in love enough to take risks for it. That's not gullible, that's brave. We've been seeing each other casually for 3 weeks now. Nothing serious, nothing rushed, nothing that feels like I'm trying to replace what I lost. Just two adults enjoying each other's company without the desperate need to turn it into a fairy tale. I told her about Linaya, about Siraporna on our 3rd date, about how I'd let loneliness make me ignore red flags that should have been obvious, about how I'd confused being needed with being loved. Do you regret it? Patricia asked. The whole experience? I regret the money. I regret how blind I was to what was happening, but I don't regret opening my heart again after 15 years of keeping it locked away, even if it got broken. That's very mature, or very stupid. I'm still not sure which. Maybe both. Maybe that's what makes it human. I still think about Siraporn sometimes. Wonder where she is, what she's doing, whether she ever thinks about the men whose hearts she broke in pursuit of financial security. I don't hate her any or hate. Takes too much energy, and I need that energy for building my new life. But I don't miss her either. What I miss is the feeling she gave me, the sense of being chosen and valued and needed. But I've learned that I can't get those feelings from someone else. They have to come from within. I'm 68 now. I don't know how many more chances I'll get at love, at partnership, at building something real with another person. But I know this. If it happens again, it'll be because two whole people chose to share their lives with each other, not because one person tried to fill a void by using another person. I still walk that beach where she promised me forever. But now I walk it as someone who knows that forever is something you build day by day with someone who stays, not something you promise to someone you're planning to leave. The sunset looks the same as it did that first night when she called me her soulmate. But I see it differently now. It's not a backdrop for romantic fantasy, it's just a beautiful thing that happens every day whether someone's there to share it with you or not. And that's enough. For now, that's enough. If you're watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you're someone who's been lonely long enough to ignore warning signs, desperate enough to believe beautiful lies, trusting enough to hand over your heart and your savings to someone who saw you as an opportunity rather than a person, I want you to know something. You're not stupid. You're not weak. You're not pathetic. You're human. You wanted love, and there's nothing wrong with wanting love. The problem wasn't your desire for connection, it was trusting someone who saw that desire as a weakness to exploit rather than a gift to treasure. Learn from it, heal from it. But don't let it convince you to stop trying, because somewhere out there might be someone who will see your capacity for love as the beautiful thing it is and choose to protect it rather than abuse it. And that person, when you find them, will be worth all the risks you took to keep your heart open long enough for them to find you. Until then, learn to be good company for yourself. Learn to walk alone without being lonely. Learn to see your own worth so clearly that you won't need someone else's validation to feel valuable. And if someone comes along who enhances the life you've built rather than offering to rescue you from it, maybe you'll have found something real. But don't go looking for it. Let it find you. And when it does, you'll know the difference. Trust me on that. After what I've been through, I'll definitely know the difference.